All right. So, as you know, today or tomorrow, depending on when I record this, the coveted Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson is gonna happen. And listen, I'm gonna get this out there real quick. I hate Jake Paul. I don't like him at all. There's nothing about him I respect other than his work ethic, and even that is questionable at sometimes. But he did the looting during the BLM protests. He's just an overall terrible person to people he's around. He's doing a little better now, but by no means am I a fan of Jake Paul. I don't drink any of his products like Celsius. I don't. I'll probably never get a sponsorship by him. He is like a. Don't get me wrong. Under my viewpoint, he is a terrible person. However, we need to admit something here, and it's that Jake Paul beats Mike Tyson. Now, listen, guys, listen. I have nothing but respect for Mike Tyson, except for the certain allegations, but that's besides the point. Regardless of that fact, we are looking at an old Mike Tyson here. Just listen. The aura's gone. Mike Tyson once was a name. I know before I was even born, he once was a name that had aura around him. He would walk into the fight, his opponent's already lost before entering the ring. But Mike Tyson has lost before, and he's lost before by knockout. And he quit boxing because he said he doesn't have it in him anymore. And I respect that retirement. But that just shows that he's not ready to box in his life again, right? And then after that, we get this version of Mike. And I know he's trying to get some aura going in the press conference by being silent, by being like, I'm not going to lose. This guy doesn't know what's going to happen to him. But it's sad, but it's true. He's a 60-year-old man. He's getting knocked out. It is what it is, Listen, I got nothing but respect for his career, and I do think I don't think he's the best boxer of all time, but I do think he's up there in aura potential. But this is just sad to look at, man. It is. It just is. Listen, I've seen his training videos. I know what everyone's freaking out of. Oh, he's fast. He's this. If you watch that footage next to a heavyweight boxer's footage, or any weight class footage of a professional boxer, it's night and day. Mike Tyson is nowhere near the level of speed he was before. Is he fast for a 60-year-old man? Yes. Is he on roids? Yes. But let's not forget here, he literally was in the hospital not long ago due to, I believe it was heart complications on a plane, and he had to pull out of that fight. And I was more on the 50-50 side with a Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul before the pullout. But then Mike Perry stepped in, and if you don't know, I know there's a lot of casuals who don't know who Mike Perry is. Mike Perry is a savage. He is a badass. He did get knocked out by Jake Paul. That's Jake Paul's best win, hands down, not even close. That'd be a better win than beating Tommy Fury. I think he showed improvement. But the thing is, once I saw him whoop Mike Perry, and listen, it was kind of close, to be fair, until the knockout. But Mike Perry doesn't have the greatest chin, but he's got a good enough chin for combat sports. Mike Tyson's 60 years old, and he's lost by knockout before. Guys, this isn't a 50-0 Mike Tyson. He's lost. He's going to lose. Every single time he talks about why he took the fight, it's never, I'm gonna kill this kid. This kid's never seen power like mine. It's good money. He's in it for the money. Everyone's in it for the money when they fight fucking Jake Paul. And you know what? Fair play. He's probably getting 10 minimum million to fucking show for the fight. Guys, this is obvious. Mike Tyson was broke not too long ago. He was completely bankrupt. He needs money. I know he shows up on podcasts and shit like that, but that doesn't show that he has money. That just shows he knows big people, and his name is still big in Mike Tyson. I know he's trying to present himself as, yeah, I'm Mike Tyson, you know, and he's sitting there silent, just say nothing, and every time he speaks, it's like, I'm going to win. I'm gonna beat Jake Paul. You know? But yeah, Mike Tyson, he's not prime Mike Tyson. He's 60 years old Mike Tyson, you know? And Jake Paul, you can say he's a terrible person. I agree. You can say he probably slacks off. I would kind of agree. You can say he's a crypto scammer. Yeah, I would agree. But he is a legit boxer. Honestly, I would pick Jake Paul against anyone outside of the top 20 rankings in any boxing division right now. Obviously excluding heavyweight, but there's a good argument he could reach heavyweight. Jake Paul's clearly on the roids. That's why he's never doing testing ever. And that's why he's probably gonna knock out Mike Tyson here. He is on something, you know. Jake Paul's definitely getting a little juicy. And we can even see here, this is the face-off. Does that look like a killer? You know? That looks like a guy who just doesn't want to be there, you know? He wants his money and he wants out. And listen, is Mike Tyson live in this fight? No. Can he win this fight? Yes. I think there's a legit chance that Mike Tyson can win this fight. I do lean on Jake Paul's side. I'm like 95% sure Jake Paul wins. The 5% being Mike Tyson wins by decision. Now, if you're wondering why I'm saying decision and not a finish, listen, he can hit pads. I'm not seeing a lot of sparring. I'm not seeing a lot of... And I know he's old. You shouldn't be sparring at age. I get that, right? But you kind of need that. It's different when you're hitting pads than when you have a live opponent in front of you, you know? And Jake Paul's gotten really good at covering up and waiting for his moment to pop. He showed that he will take rounds off, though, to try to get that finish. I think he was trying to do that in the Tommy Fury fight. But this is just different levels of boxing, you know? It really is. And Mike Tyson is from the old era, and he's been chinned by not great boxers. Buster Douglas wasn't exactly the next GOAT boxer, you know? You can't really say the same for the Evander Holyfield, but it's a little bit of a different story, you know? And I know a lot of people are thinking, well, Jake Paul's avoiding eye contact in interviews, and Jake Paul's, you know, not really paying attention to him in interviews. You know, and he's trying to do all these jokey things and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, if you're new, that's what Jake Paul does. He did the same thing with Mike Perry. Mike Perry had nothing but confidence going in that fight, and he does have the skills to back up the confidence. Jake Paul's just the better boxer. And at the end of the day, Mike Tyson's last fight was against an old Roy Jones Jr. 3 years ago that I believe ended in a draw with modified rules. That was another old man. If Mike Tyson's not knocking out another 60-year-old man, he's not knocking out Jake Paul, who is able to just cleanly take shots off Mike Perry. It's just fact. That's just how chins work. If you're from MMA, you know Marvin Vettori, he just won't die. His chin is impossible to break. It is what it is. Some people just have it. Now, Marvin Vettori might not be the sharpest tool in the shed, and he doesn't have the brain power to actually do anything in a fight other than survive. Marvin Vettori's chin's never getting cracked. Eventually it will because of age. Jake Paul's different. He's young. He's got a good chin. He's on roids. He trains for this. He's taking this fight seriously. You know, and he is... I do take it seriously when he does say, well, you know, I'm treating this as it's going to war. It's this, that, and the other. I think it's going to end in the first, second, maybe even... I could see first... My prediction would be the first or fourth round, if I'm going to get exact. Just because I can see Mike Tyson dipping in, getting clipped by an overhand, or sorry, a check left hook or right hook, and instantly being taken out. But yeah, like I was saying, I do think Mike Tyson, he can't survive long enough, I think is the problem, you know? Jake Paul's just young, in prime, a true boxer, and he does think it's going to be a war. And oftentimes, a lot of the people who are like, I'll give respect to my opponent, I think it's going to be a war, and they're just much better than them, it does end up just being a finish in the first. And I kind of think that's what happens here. Now, I know when Mike Tyson gets knocked out, it's going to be, oh, he's rigged, blah, blah, blah. No, it's not. Mike Tyson's 60, you know? Now, obviously, I'm saying all this, and I could be dead wrong if Mike Tyson knocks out Jake Paul. I'm hoping for it, fingers crossed. Combat sport gods aren't that kind, trust me. If you know MMA, you know Max Holloway, and you know the MMA gods won't let anything happen, you know, or any good things happen in MMA anymore, you know? And I think that's the same thing with boxing. It just is what it is. It's the combat sport gods. It's how they decide, you know? But, yeah, I do think Jake Paul gets it done either in the first or fourth. Reason why I say fourth is because I can see a world where Jake Paul is kind of just shelling up most of the time, making sure he's not really getting hit too much. Mike Tyson goes in a few times, dips, you know, jab to the body, you know, throwing overhands, stuff like that. And under the suspicion that Jake Paul's just trying to get a nice counter KO finish, I think he might let it go a little longer just to make it seem a little bit more of a fight, I guess, and also to really just find that KO shot. Because a 60-year-old Mike Tyson, I'm not seeing sparring footage, I'm not seeing, you know, we don't even know what happens if a real strike lands on Mike Tyson. He hasn't boxed in, what, 20 plus years? 30 plus years? I think it's been, I don't think it's been 30. I think it's close to 30 though, you know? But it is what it is. Jake Paul's going to get it done. Now, there is a world where Jake Paul is kind of just trying to get a finish. And by trying to get a finish, I mean he's just waiting for a counter shot. And he's just trying to get that nice hook. You know, he's trying to get a nice uppercut up the middle, which I think Mike Tyson's very open to. Which is one of the shots that put him down in one of his fights. Just saying. Mike Tyson also got sloppy later in his career. And I know you could make the argument he was on drugs. What do you think he's on now? Just saying. I'm pretty sure bro's probably smoking the devil's lettuce when he can. And we are seeing Mike Tyson do these training clips. We're not seeing him do it for how long. Now, every round is 2 minutes, and it's 8 rounds. So I think it is possible. Jake Paul's just trying to get a finish, can't get a finish, took too many rounds off. Mike Tyson wins. Because realistically, Mike Tyson only needs to win 10 minutes of a fight. That's not unrealistic, you know, out of an 16-minute fight. That's not unrealistic. And by win it could just be a minute of Jake Paul not really doing much, and Mike Tyson landing a jab to the body, you know, leg kick, no, I'm joking, obviously, but like overhand right, stuff like that, you know, because obviously he's going to do classic Mike Tyson stuff, and he's going to shoot in, you know, duck his head under, but that's going to be a problem. Guys, Jake Paul's the bigger dude in there. Now, you might say, muscle-wise, it's a little different. I'd argue it doesn't matter. But Jake Paul's got the reach. He's got the height. He's going to be able to pick apart Tyson any way he wants. Especially if Mike Tyson wants to just sit there in his Philly shell and just dance around. Or not his Philly shell, his, fuck, I forget. What is it called? It's not Philly shell. Something, fuck, I can't even remember the style anymore. That's how little I watch boxing nowadays. No, but his style is old. You don't see anyone do his style. Most people do the Philly shell. Most people do standard or orthodox, whatever you want to call it. Not a lot of people are doing Mike Tyson's style because it doesn't work anymore. That's just how the boxing game is, you know? And I'll say this again, I want nothing more than to see Mike Tyson knock out Jake Paul cold on the canvas, and we see his corpse there, and then the memes sprung from it are going to be crazy, and then we can say boxing, you know, this is what happens when professionals fight amateurs, you know, that whole narrative. This is what happens when YouTubers get too big of a head. I would love that narrative, but we have to live in reality. He's 60 years old. He looks like he's already been defeated mentally in the fights. He's not talking, not saying anything. He's got very little aura around him anymore, you know? And it's quite clear he is just in this. for the bag, guys. He's here for the money. And you can't blame him. It's a lot of money. But he's looking like he's gonna get knocked out, you know? And I know I've got love handles, but, you know, I'm just saying, this isn't prime. He's still not prime Mike Tyson, even if you think that, you know? And his training videos, for all we know, could be sped up. Just saying. You know, he looks great for his age. And just already he gets pissed. But, I mean, that just looks terrible. Let's just slow this down real quick. Playback speed. Yeah. Like, just... He even closed his eyes while doing it. Guys. This is who's fighting Jake Paul. Listen, Mike Tyson in his old prime beats Jake Paul 10 out of 10 times. 60-year-old Mike Tyson, who's closing his eyes after slapping someone. Closing your eyes when you throw a strike, if you don't know, is like the first rule you're taught not to do in any combat sport. Because the moment you close your eyes is the moment you're open to surprise. See how that rhymed? Hey, just saying. Made that up on the spot. But Jake Paul, all he really needs to do against a taller opponent is he either just point strikes with him, which he could do, and because Mike Tyson's going to be dipping in, he's going to be dipping into a lot of shovel hooks. Just saying. You know? I could see Mike Tyson winning by decision. I just think it's, like, not even close to the realm of reality. You know? And just... It does just look like an old man getting angry at, like, a youngster who's pissed him off. But that's it. And Jake Paul's good. Like, this is a bad matchup regardless of age and everything, because Jake Paul's good at egging you on. Mike Tyson seems to be very easily quick to anger here. We've seen the interviews where he just freaks out on reporters. We've seen what happens to the guy who makes fun of him on a plane. He'll just, you know, punch him out of nowhere. Fair play, you can say he's a savage for that. That's not going to do him well in Jake Paul's fight. Jake Paul's going to sit there, stick his tongue out. Mike Tyson's going to dip in, try to get that hook going, and then he gets slept. That's just how I see it going. I think it ends in round 1. If you're a gambler on this fight, I wouldn't gamble on it regardless because it is a Jake Paul fight. You never want to gamble on a Jake Paul fight. But I just think it's bad, man. It's very bad for Tyson. You know, really worried for what's going to happen. We could see the first combat sport death, depending on what happens. People forget, man. Jake Paul does this for a living. He knocks out old people. Look what happened to Tyron Woodley. You want to say Tyron Woodley sucks? In the striking? Fair enough. Look what he did to Anderson Silva. Chael Sonnen didn't do that to Anderson Silva. That's kind of like my point. I know Chael Sonnen's not the craziest boxer, but if you don't know, they did have a boxing bout recently. It is what it is. He knocked down Nate Diaz. Jorge fucking Masvidal didn't. I'm just saying, like, Jake Paul's got different heat. He's got a different chin. And he's got a different work ethic for this fight, you know? He's treating it like a serious fight. This isn't Jake Paul being like, oh, I'm just gonna go knock out a 60-year-old man. No, he's thinking it's going to be an actual war. He's gonna be fully using all of his effort all the time. And you might say he gasses. It's a 16-minute fight. That's not even an unranked MMA bout length, you know? That's barely an unranked MMA bout length. There's going to be a minute rest time each round. That only favors Paul. It is. I'm sorry. That's just the truth. So, with that being said, I just wanted to get my take out there, get my prediction out there, because the fight is happening very soon. And, you know, I want to be proven dead wrong. I really do. I want to look back at this video and be like, damn, I was delusional, you know? It's such a good time to live in this reality where Mike Tyson smokes his ass. But he just doesn't. And I think the faster you accept it, easier it's going to be when Mike Tyson goes down as a corpse in the air, you know? But yeah, with all that being said, I want to thank you for watching. And as always, I hope you have a good day.